Hey there, it's Lauryn Dempsey, your Denver area realtor, and today I'm super excited because I'm sitting down with my friend and fellow realtor, Steph Kroll. She's actually a mid-century modern expert here in the Denver metro area, and we are in my neighborhood in Arvada, in the Alta Vista neighborhood, which has some of the most mid-century modern homes in the Denver metro area. So we're going to take a quick deep dive in Alta Vista and what makes it unique. So first off, Steph, can you tell me a little bit about what mid-century modern is?
Yeah, so mid-century modern homes are homes that were built, I would say, mostly in the 50s and 60s, some in the 70s, that there were a lot of homes built after the post-war area in the Denver metro area because there was a 140% population boom. But the mid-century modern homes in particular are characteristic of a few architectural items, essentially floor-to-ceiling windows, low slanted or low pitched roofs, or even flat top roofs. They're gable roofs, floor to ceiling windows, a lot of indoor outdoor living space, open floor plans, which essentially allows for ready for anything living. You can rearrange your space in any way that you want to. Usually they're pretty minimal, or they're smaller in square footage. I would say typically below 2,000 square feet, but there are obviously homes that are much larger than that as well. But a lot of these homes usually have a lot of glass involved. Yeah.
So I'm doing my research a little bit about the Alta Vista neighborhood. It's actually pretty interesting. In 1951, there was a surprise announcement from, I guess, the U.S. government prior to the Department of Energy, and basically what they announced was that Rocky Flats would be opening, and it was a surprise to many citizens here in Arvada and the Denver metro. And so what was the surprise really turned into suburbanization of Arvada, and then also a housing boom. And the Alta Vista homes are actually built by the Hoskinson brothers, and they are very well known to be well built and were featured in some press back in the 1950s. So one of the interesting things about the Alta Vista neighborhood in particular is that it was built as a result of the announcement of Rocky Flats opening in the 1950s. The Rocky Flats announcement was a surprise to many locals here, and as a result, the Arvada area really became much more suburban and suburbanized. It was previously mostly farmland, and one of the builders in the area, the Hoskinson brothers, designed the Alta Vista neighborhood, which is bounded to the south by Brooks Drive, to the west by Garrison, to the east by Carr, and to the north by Oberon. And so this is actually a 70-acre plot of land that features 274 mid-century modern homes. And Steph, would you say that that's a lot of mid-century modern homes in one area?
Yeah, Alta Vista is definitely one of the largest mid-century modern neighborhoods in Denver. You really don't see that number almost anywhere else in the city at all. There are, pockets of like 90 or 170, but that's a significant amount of homes in one area.
Mm-hmm. So one of the interesting things about these specific homes is that they were actually built with purpose and intent. The Hoskinson brothers and the architect Louis Stanton really wanted to make sure that these homes were well built, and to this day we know that they, as realtors here, they are well built homes, and as someone who lives in one of these homes, I can tell you is that it's a solid construction, and 60 years later they continue to be standing strong. So what makes these homes a little bit different than other mid-century modern homes in the Denver area?
I would say what makes the Alta Vista homes significantly more well built than some other area mid-century moderns is that they are brick ranches. So I think with this, especially with the siding on the outside of homes, other mid-century moderns in the area either have board and batten siding, or they were just, the siding was made of wood, or even like asbestos tiles that had to be taken off. So yeah, I mean, that stuff just decays over time. And what's really great about Alta Vista is these are brick ranches, and the brick typically is in pretty good condition still. Mm-hmm. I think that also has to do with the fact that Arvada is just placed in a really great spot environmentally. I think that that's like why they've been able to be in such, the brick itself has been able to stay in such great shape, is because just the positioning of the neighborhood, next to the mountains and like next to the city and stuff like that.
Yep, I think some of these homes Actually, when I did a quick search of the area, over 80% of the 274 homes in the Alta Vista neighborhood are in great condition, and the neighborhood could actually be a historic district if the city moved forward with that. So that kind of goes to show you just how well taken care of and how well built these homes are, is that most of them, a majority of them, are still in great condition 60 plus years later. Some of these homes, actually when I did a quick search of the area, over 80% of the 274 homes in the Alta Vista neighborhood are in great condition, and the neighborhood could actually be a historic district if the city moved forward with that. So that kind of goes to show you just how well taken care of and how well built these homes are, is that most of them, a majority of them, are still in great condition 60 plus years later.
Yeah, and when we approach 70 years, then they can be, that's when homes or structures in general can be qualify for historic designation. So I think we're getting close.
Yep. So what is something that homeowners should know about when they are thinking about upgrading their home, and what does the mid-century modern designation do for the value of your home?
So I would say one thing about Alta Vista in general is that a lot of people who live in the neighborhood typically, it's almost like they don't know what they have. And it's not a bad thing whatsoever. It's just a lot of people moved into these homes, at different points in their lives, whether they're original owners or whether they moved in the 70s, but things have just been redesigned to everyone's taste, which is totally fine. But I would say that taking a mid-century modern with a low-pitched gable roof and really designing it to style. There's one I particularly love that has been, we're going to talk about this house because I love this house. It has a really modern front yard. The landscaping is really minimal, but also it's xeriscaped. It's very environmentally friendly. It also has an integration of breeze blocks, and it looks like they have a patio in between the main home and the carport, so it really just allows for a lot more indoor-outdoor living, but on top of that, it's just really nice to see these homes designed in the way that they were intended to be lived in. But I would say because mid-century modern style is so hot right now, designing a home to style as opposed to just flipping it in a very maybe what you might call a Joanna Gaines HGTV style, painting everything white, which is very typical of what investors are doing in this area. I would say actually doing your research and figuring out how to design to style will actually increase the value of your home. So obviously I can't say how much. It's one of those things that it's kind of subjective, and I don't want to make any promises, but at the same time, I just know the demand for mid-century moderns in the Denver metro area is absolutely insane. These homes sell at a premium. So if they're designed to style, and that, it could be as simple as adding cute little globe or pendant lights in your kitchen, or making sure that the kitchen and bathroom cabinets are very modern, or they are even hovering off the floor, or it really comes down to lighting fixtures or paint and wallpaper, making things playful, maybe having a colorful front door, a fun mailbox. That is the stuff that homeowners love. I would say that buyers are looking for. So that's why I think that designing a home to mid-century modern style in this neighborhood is really important.
So it seems like when we talked before is that a lot of these homes were built for future in mind. So essentially that they were very modern for their time, and they have transcended time to continue to be attractive today. What do you think that is?
I feel like mid-century modern architects back in their day were very future forward in their thinking. At the time, everyone's talking about the space age, and they're just trying to think about what is life going to be like if we have flying cars? Well, we still don't have flying cars. But, things of that nature, they were trying to design their lives around what the future was going to hold. And I think that they were just really, really ahead of their time. And so now we're finally seeing, I think this is partially why mid-century modern in general has just kind of blown up outside of maybe the Mad Men craze. I think that these homes finally have come to be very practical for everyday lifestyles. They're minimal, so you really only like can have what you need in these homes, but at the same time that's like a really good thing. There's a lot of indoor outdoor living, and people just love the outdoors. Colorado is beautiful. There's no reason why you shouldn't want to be inside and outside in your home all the time. Yeah. And they're just practical, and I think that now they can even be updated again to style, but in a really smart way, so that they don't not only look modern, but they are functionally modern as well. Some people are kind of purists, and they love keeping like the original appliances or the original sinks or bathtubs, and I would say most of the homes in Alta Vista probably don't have those anymore. But there's a way, again, to like bring your mid-century modern home to style in the future and make sure it's still functional, but also just kind of keep some of those like fun design features that were prevalent in the 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely think I know that there's a big demand for these types of homes, just living in Arvada and paying attention to the market here. We've seen that the prices in this neighborhood specifically have increased 5% over the past year alone, and the average sales price is just $426,000. So they're still affordable homes, but the prices are increasing, and we only have just over a month of inventory. So the demand is there, and if you're a seller looking to sell, there's a lot of opportunity to make a good return, and then also sell quickly because of the months of inventory. One of the interesting things about it, if you are a homeowner here, is that these homes were actually built in the 50s, early 50s, and they were selling from $13,000 to $15,000. So we still have some original homeowners in some of these homes, so they've seen quite an appreciation over the past few decades. So a lot of these homeowners actually just love living in this neighborhood. So it's a desirable neighborhood. There's tons of parks nearby. That's actually one of Arvada's, I would say, mandates, that any home or homeowner has to be within 10 minutes of a green space. So it's an attractive area to be for many people, and it's so close to downtown Denver. So want to take a look at some of the homes and some of the 6 styles that are in this neighborhood?
Yeah, sure, let's do it. I would also say that these homes are still affordable.
Yes.
They were built to be affordable, and now they are still affordable for modern day living.
Yeah, some of these homes you can actually get in the high 3s. So for the proximity to Denver, to having a great Olde Town area, just walking distance, and then being close to the G line, you get a lot for the value of the homes and the price of the home. So it is, I'd like to say it's a little bit undiscovered still. I imagine that's going to change over the next few years, but it's a great place to be. So let's take a look at some of the styles of these homes.
So this is an example of one of my favorite mid-century modern remodels in the area. As you can see in the front, there's a lot of xeriscaping, natural grasses, modern pathways, as well as integration of breeze block and some modern fencing to separate the front and the backyards. The carport is a really prominent feature in this home, and as you can see in the front, there's a lot of floor-to-ceiling windows, which allows for a lot of open and natural light inside of the space. Here is an example of the Alta Vista model. These homes typically had 4 beds and 2 bathrooms and were around 1,600 square feet in size. They were featured in the 1955 Parade of Homes. They're characteristic of this front low-pitched sloping roof in the front. I really love the paint colors that they used on this home in particular. Avocado green is a really typical mid-century modern paint color that is used on homes. This is one of the only homes in the neighborhood that has an entire wall of south-facing floor-to-ceiling windows. As you can see at the top, you have your typical mid-century modern trapezoidal windows, clerestory windows. You also have typical post and beam construction keeping the roof up, and what is assumed to be a wood-burning fireplace with mid-century brick on the outside.
So one of the interesting things about the Alta Vista neighborhood is that the suburbanization of Arvada happened so quickly that the schools that were in existence were overcrowded. And so the developers were forced to transition some of the homes in Alta Vista to schools, what they called cottage schools. There are about 8 of them in the Alta Vista neighborhood that were used as schools. And on this particular house, where you see the house number and the vinyl siding, that was the entrance to the schools back in the 50s. I'm Lauren.
I'm Steph.
And we just want to thank you so much for watching our parade of home tours here in the Alta Vista neighborhood. If you're interested in any homes here or want to know what's going on as the market evolves, please reach out. Thank you. Bye.